And good morning to you. This is a Fox 7 special report. I'm Christine Haas.
And I'm Mike Warren. The 2015 inauguration is about to begin with the swearing in of a new governor and new lieutenant governor. Greg Abbott will serve as the 48th governor elected in the state. Republican Dan Patrick will serve as the 42nd lieutenant governor for the Lone Star. Both men are scheduled to take the oath of office very shortly.
And we're taking a live view of the state capitol right now. You can see the colors coming through the door. What a beautiful day at the state capitol. Of course, access, so all those crews could set up for today's big event, and you can see so many people awaiting today's ceremony. We have an itinerary as we wait for the podium there to give you an idea of what the events will bring throughout the day. Here's a look at what is scheduled to take place today during the inauguration. Happening right now at 11 a.m., the posting of the colors, as you just saw. At 11:07, the Pledge of Allegiance. Then we'll have the national anthem, and then an F-16 flyover. So if you're downtown, you know what you're going to hear. And then just after that, the pledge, the Texas pledge.
And soon after that, the Providence, Texas School Choir will sing. At 11:15, there will be an invocation. Then at 11:17, the Lieutenant Governor will take the oath of office. He will then speak. Then at 11:34, the governor is expected, the new governor expected to take his oath of office. And then at 11:39, he will give his speech. And at 11:54, there will be a benediction.
And we have Amanda Salinas, our morning anchor, standing out live right now at 9th and Congress. She's awaiting all of these festivities as well. Amanda, what's it like out there? Crowded? How's security?
The closer you get to the Capitol building, the more visible security is. Right here along Congress Avenue, we have a number of state troopers as well as police officers. Throughout the day, we can expect that number to get bigger and larger. After the oath of office ceremony, it's going to start with a barbecue at 12:15 that'll feature Texas-sized spread for you, 4 tons of brisket. That's the equivalent of 400 heads of Cabot, a mile's worth of jalapeno sausages, smoked chicken, coleslaw, and 17,000 pies. How does that sound for lunch for you? It is a ticketed event, so you're going to have to pay in case there may still be some tickets available at will call. As for the rest of the afternoon, 2 o'clock, it is the 20 Texas inaugural parade where 32 floats from across the state will join Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick and Governor-elect Greg Abbott as they go down Congress Avenue. It will begin at the Ann Richards Bridge, continue north on Congress Avenue to the Capitol Dome. That's only 11 blocks, but still, it should be quite the scene here. Congress Avenue not shut down just yet. Once the barricades arrive here, which will be in about an hour or so. Tonight, the party continues. The Future of Texas Ball. That's a ticket-only event. It'll start at 7:30. Promises to be quite the party. Lady Antebellum and Pat will be talking about that, or they will be playing, rather. Okay, so what will the lieutenant governor and the governor be tackling this 84th legislative session? Tax cuts, gun rights, education, immigration, and the budget, of course. Lawmakers with a $113 billion budget. A caveat to that is that we're going to have to see how the decrease in oil and gas revenue is going to affect the budget. As you know, a lot of gas prices dropping right now. A lot more to tackle here for the legislative session. But of course, today we are going to focus on Governor-elect Greg Abbott and Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick. Christine, Mike, back to you.
Yeah, we are awaiting that. Thank you, Amanda. And as she mentioned, even some of the political advisors are saying the governor is going to be a no-drama governor. And we're going to see a lot on the agenda. He's already been working behind the scenes to get set, get ready to the reins right away after today's inauguration.
And talk about that may be the purview of the lieutenant governor, Dan Patrick, much more of a kind of a firebrand, certainly during the campaign. You can see a live picture of the south steps of the Texas State Capitol, where the oaths of office is scheduled to take place. 11:07, there's a kind of our next big event will be the Pledge of Allegiance, and then we'll get into the national anthem, 16 flyover. and the rest of the events.
And one of the things that I think is pretty interesting too is the Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick will be sworn in by his son Ryan, who's a Harris County State District Judge in Houston. So it's pretty exciting to see this staying in the family. He must be a proud father as well.
Yeah, he will be the first to be sworn in, taking the oath. We're seeing some introductions of some of the VIPs coming out of the Capitol. That's Joe Strauss, who is the Speaker of the Texas Legislature. And
Texas is well represented because Greg Abbott's roots really go actually through to East Texas as well. Wichita Falls, and today later on throughout the parade they'll see the cheer squad coming to cheer him on, a lot of people from Longview, and then right here we're understanding Dan Patrick's son that we just mentioned there, Ryan, Harris County State District Judge there, family walking him. Oh, and cute kids as well.
It's going to be a proud moment.
Proud moment as well for the Latino community, because Cecilia Abbott, the First Lady, will become Texas's first Latina First Lady. And I know so many people have talked about what an inspiration she's been to her husband over the years since his accident. They have a strong Catholic faith. We're going to also hear from the benediction prayer later on after all of this. Now we see Dan Patrick coming to the podium with his wife there, Jan.
Of 39 years.
Yes, long history and marriage there as well. Dan and Jan Patrick, and he's about to give his speech here.
We're going to wait for the governor, should be due next, and then the ceremony will get started in earnest.
Governor-elect Greg Abbott and Cecilia Abbott, accompanied by their daughter, Audrey Abbott.
A long road for Greg Abbott from Wichita Falls.
That's right.
Grew up in Duncanville.
Married 32 years to Cecilia there.
Went to UT, law school, Vanderbilt. Had that accident right after. Put him in a wheelchair.
He's the third governor in the U.S. history to use a wheelchair as well.
Yeah.
One Franklin Roosevelt, New York. He kept the wheelchair out of public view, though, as you can see, something Governor-elect Greg Abbott does not do. The second was George Wallace, who was elected governor of Alabama twice after he was paralyzed in an assassination attempt.
Abbott, after law school and after that accident, he went on to become a district judge, Harris County.
Colonel Walter Cunningham,
and then the Attorney General.
United States Marine Corps retired and Apollo 7 astronaut, leads us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indus for all.
Please remain standing as Steve Amerson sings the national anthem. Can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the night o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag is still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled
We are still waiting the oath of office to begin here, but as we do, we can tell you a little bit about what Amanda mentioned earlier, what's on the agenda in the next year or so. And as we mentioned, Governor has been hard at work. We understand he's also met with the Black Caucus already to understand the needs of a diverse legislature and community, trying to get right to the heart of everything initially. We mentioned some of the political advisors said that he's going to be a no-drama governor. He's going to be focused, prioritized, and will work with the legislature easily. That's according to a political advisor, David Carney, that we've talked to.
And we can have F-16 flyover from where we are, so that's what's next on the order of events for this ceremony. We're going to have, we just had, I believe, had the Texas pledge right after the F-16 flyover.
Yeah, we're just steps.
Please remain
just
standing
steps from the Capitol, as you can
the
see.
Honorable Hope leads us in the Texas pledge.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, God, one and indivisible.
Please remain standing as the Providence Catholic School Choir sings Texas, Our Texas. Please be seated.
The Senate will come to order. A quorum is present.
The House will come to order. A quorum is present. The two houses have convened inaugurating the governor and the lieutenant governor. The invocation will now be delivered by Dr.
Shall we pray? Dear God, we want to make today your day, a day when we give recognition to the fact that government was created by God. It serves to provide a safe, just, and righteous environment for freedom to flourish. It is our prayer that this house becomes your house, comfortable. The laws that are passed, the guidance that is given, will be done with a view to the standards that you have established, where good is promoted and evil is restricted, where an atmosphere of unity will dominate, and where the citizens of this great state will recognize that God is at home in this house. May what takes place today in the inauguration of our Lieutenant Governor, Dan Patrick, and of our Governor, Greg Abbott, be spectacular not only in our eyes, but in may their leadership so establish an atmosphere in this state that it will be sought to be emulated throughout these United States as a model of what government was created to be. And since you are the ultimate king governing the kingdom of your creation, may we align in this house the decisions of your house so that both houses stay in sync and that this community becomes beneficiaries of the leadership of these two quality men. Thank you for the opportunity to inaugurate quality citizenry in a quality state, modeling for a quality nation, the hand of God in. And we will give you the glory and special thanksgiving for your Son, Jesus Christ, who makes all of this possible because he is alive and sitting at your right hand to implement your principles through these men in this legislature. We give you the glory and the honor. Amen.
Ready? The oath of office will now be administered to the Lieutenant Governor-elect, the Honorable Dan Patrick, by his son, Judge Ryan Patrick.
Senator Patrick, are you prepared to take the constitutional oath of office?
I am.
Then place your left hand on the Sam Houston Bible and our family Bible and raise your right hand and repeat. I, Dan Patrick, do solemnly swear
Do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully execute
that I will faithfully execute
the duties of the office
the duties of the office
of the Lieutenant
Governor of the state of Texas,
and will, to the best of my ability,
and will, to the best of my ability,
preserve, protect, and defend
preserve, protect
the Constitution and laws
the Constitution and laws
of the United States
of the United States
and of this state.
and of this state.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
It is now with great pleasure that I introduce the Honorable Senator Hinojosa from Hidalgo County.
Please be seated. It's an honor and a privilege for me to introduce the Lieutenant Governor of the state of Texas, the Honorable Dan Patrick.
Thank you, Senator. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. You know, throughout the campaign, I can't miss this moment here. One over here. I want to get those green signs in the back. Thank you. General, soon-to-be Governor Abbott, in just a couple of moments. Mr. Speaker, members of the House, members of the Senate, elected officials, and our small gathering of invited guests. In the grace of God, you, and millions of Texans, I would not be standing here today. Proverbs 21:31 says, "The horse is made ready for battle, but victory rests with the Lord." I worked hard for 15 months, but the victory was his. I'm humbled, I'm grateful, I'm blessed beyond belief that millions of Texans entrusted me with their vote to be the 72nd Lieutenant Governor of the great state of Texas. Thank you again. In Matthew 20:26, the Bible says, "Whoever among you that will offer up themselves to lead must first be a servant." With a humble heart, I before you. I respect all faiths and religions, but I am a Christian first, a conservative second, for this moment and this day. In 1970, Robert Greenleaf created the servant leadership model for business, and I thought much of it applies to those of us in public office. First, a servant must listen and identify the will of the people. Second, a servant must rely on the power of persuasion and not the power of authority. A servant must embrace conceptualization, and what that means is to dream big dreams, to do the things that some say cannot be done, but balance that with solving the realities we face day to day. Leaders, servant leaders, must have foresight. They know the lessons of the past, understand the issues of both chambers and in the governor's office, that the decisions we make today, we must be careful and wise because they will impact the future of many to come behind us. A servant leader must be humble, must be trustworthy, must be encouraging to others. And I stand here today making a commitment to every person in Texas that I will be a servant leader first and foremost. This time, I would like to ask every member of the greatest legislative body in the country, the Texas Senate, to please stand and rise and be recognized. Ladies and gentlemen, your Texas Senate for the 84th legislative session. I'm proud to be the president of the Senate and look forward to working with each and every one of you. In my campaign, I pledged to secure the border, to lower property and business taxes, prioritize reform and improve public education, build our infrastructure, and protect life, family, and the Second Amendment. That's what I pledge to do, and that is what I will do as Lieutenant Governor. My goal is to be the best Lieutenant Governor in the history of this state. After all, you didn't go to vote for me and say, he might be 4th or 5th best. You want me to be the best. And every Texan deserves that from me and every member of the Texas Senate, and I will work hard each and every day. It's not about my legacy, it's about you and your family in the state of Texas. As conservatives, we've done many great things over 12 years since we've been in the majority, but now it's time to take it to the next level. Let's be clear, the people of Texas have given Governor-elect Abbott and myself a clear mandate of what you want us to do here at the Capitol. My friend and Senator Jay Nelson likes to say, it's a new day in Texas. So repeat with me, what day is it? It's a new day. Well, let's talk about some of those issues that we're going to approach on this new day. Yesterday, our nation celebrated the birthday of Reverend Martin Luther King. On August 28, 1963, he gave one of the greatest speeches in history, the I Have a Dream speech. I doubt if Reverend King would have dreamed that 50 years later, we would still have families living in poverty in our inner cities and failing schools, failing our children. This must end. We cannot continue to prosper as a state unless everyone prospers, unless everyone with a great education. To break the cycle of poverty, we must be sure every student graduates. And that means where we have failing schools, that those parents deserve change and they deserve a parent's choice to send their child to the best school they believe for their child. Now, I know what some say. Dan, you can't pass school choice in Texas. They said that about the sonogram bill. It took 6 years, but we did it. And when it comes to school choice, remember, we already have it. If you're rich enough, you send your kids to private school. You have choice. If you're mobile enough, you move to the suburbs. You have choice. But if you're a poor working mom in the inner city who does not have the money for private school, who has to take the bus to work and can't move to the suburbs, that parent, that grandparent, that guardian does not. And I'm going to fight to give that parent choice for their children because they deserve it. And we will continue to put focus on work and college to make sure every student graduates ready for a job. We're going to focus on making sure every student can read at grade level by the 4th grade. And we will insist that schools follow the laws we pass, including the law we passed last session to keep Common Core out of Texas. Taxes. It's time homeowners and business owners had tax relief. We are going to lower your property taxes this session, and we're going to adjust the tax system that is increasing values. We're going to lower taxes for businesses so they can continue to grow our economy and create jobs. We're going to accomplish all of these things in education and on tax relief. Why? Because what day is it? A new day in Texas. We're going to dream big with the problems of today, but it's a new day. What day is it? It's a new day in transportation. It's time to end the gas tax diversion. We're going to get it done because it's a new day in Texas. And the number one responsibility that we have is to protect life and property, and that means we need to secure the border, and we're going to secure the border in this legislative session. To that end, the Texas Senate will fund border security at the highest levels in state history. Make no mistake, the terrorists and drug cartels and gang members risk of crossing our border illegally and coming here to do us harm is high, and we will not stand. It's Washington's problem, but it's our responsibility. National security starts with border security, and in Texas, we're going to do it because what day is it? It's a new day. And speaking of law enforcement, I want to make something very clear, that I'm proud to stand, and as I know you are, the brave men and women who protect us, of law enforcement firefighters, who every day when they go to work have a different responsibility than any one of us. They actually commit to giving their lives to save ours. Yes, they have to be held accountable for their jobs, and they expect to be. But in Texas, we support our law enforcement. Not New York, this is Texas. We have their back because they have ours. The stars at night are big and bright in Texas, and we sleep more safely under them because of the men and women in law enforcement. Thank you. In closing, let's remember, the world needs a strong America, and America needs a strong Texas. We, the people of Texas, and the service here at the Capitol, responsibility to do whatever it takes to keep Texas and be the example that Dr. Evans talked about, to be that shining light for the rest of the nation and the rest of the world. We have no choice. As Senator Don likes to say, there's not another Texas to move to. We have to get it right. Texas is one of a kind, blessed by God, fought the greatest people God ever put on this earth. And we're willing to fight back against the world, those who would come here to commit crime across this border, and those in the federal government in Washington, because come and take it is not a motto and a flag from the distant past. It's a mindset of Texas to this day. But we're going to get it done because what day is it? It's a new day. One more time, what day is it? Thank you. God bless you, your family, and the great state of Texas. Thank you, sir.
The oath of office will now be administered to the governor-elect, the Honorable Greg Abbott, by our Chief Justice, Nathan L. Hecht.
General Abbott, are you prepared to take the constitutional oath of office?
Yes, I am.
And then with your left hand, your family Bible, and on the Houston Bible, which governors have used for this oath of office since Sam Houston, and raising your right hand, repeat after me. I, Greg Abbott, do solemnly swear.
I, Greg Abbott, do
that I will faithfully
execute
the duties of the office
of
Governor of the State of Texas, and will to the best of my ability preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution and laws of the United States and of this state.
of the United States. Help me, God.
Congratulations.
It is a distinct pleasure and a privilege to introduce to you His Excellency, the Governor of Texas, Greg Abbott.
Thank you, Governor. Thank you all so very much. And let me welcome everyone here to your capital, the people's capital of the great state of Texas. Texas is so great, we say the Pledge of Allegiance twice. Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick and your lovely wife, Jan, to Speaker Strauss and your lovely wife, Julie. I look forward to working with both of you as we continue to elevate Texas higher than it's ever been before. To members of the Texas Senate, and to members of the Texas House, to all elected officials and to members of the judiciary, and most especially to all of my fellow Texans, let me express my deepest gratitude to the people of this state for electing me governor of the greatest state in the United States of America. For 14 years, we placed our trust in a man I am humbled to succeed. Along with his wife, Anita, he has been a faithful steward of the miracle that is Texas. And I thank Rick Perry for his unwavering leadership for this great state. Now, the path that brought me to this point today, I could not have traveled alone. I share today with so many people, starting with a woman of genuine warmth and character, my beautiful wife, Cecilia. You know, something special about Texas is that we have been a blending of from across the globe, even before we became our own nation. My wife represents that, as she has now made Texas history. Hispanic First Lady in the history of the great state of Texas. And Cecilia and I share this very special day with our precious daughter, Audrey. Audrey, it is through your eyes that we see the promise of the next generation of Texans. You know, I am honored to be the Texas governor. But the title that matters most is that of dad. I am proud to be your dad, Audrey Abbott. Family is everything to us. as is shown by the legions of family members who are with us here today. I won't name them all, but I do want all of them to know how grateful I am for your love and for your support. I do, however, want to recognize my father-in-law, Bill Phelan, and perhaps the most famous mother-in-law in Texas, mi madrina, Maria de la Luz Segura Phelan. And I also want to recognize Gary Abbott. Gary is my big brother, but he is also a retired commander in the United States Navy, where he served for 20 years in the most powerful military in the history of the world. So I want to say thanks to Gary and to every man and woman with us here today who has ever worn the uniform of the United States military. Their extraordinary service has secured our freedom to celebrate events of democracy like what we are celebrating today. For me, let's face it, this moment was highly improbable. This month, 30 years ago, I lay in a hospital bed, recovering from injuries that broke my back and left. The journey from that Houston hospital to the Texas governorship was possible because of two powerful forces. First is the grace of God. The book of Matthew reminds us that God, all things are possible. I'm reminded of this when I hear a song that I often hear in churches across the state of Texas. It's titled, "You Raise Me Up." You raise me up so I can stand on mountains. You raise me up to walk on stormy seas. I am strong when I am on your shoulders. You raise me up to more than I can be. As I begin my government, I humbly ask His, and I assure you, we will never forget that we are one nation under God. Now, the other powerful force that brought me from that Houston hospital to this inauguration is that I had the good fortune to live in the great state of Texas. Texas is the place where the improbable becomes the possible. You know, go back in time and you realize that many people thought that it would be improbable that Texans would overcome the total devastation at the Alamo. And yet, the unyielding drive for independence that has always filled the hearts of Texans helped them go on to achieve the Battle of San Jacinto and thus began the legend Texas has become. Today, Texas has been filled with legends, but who succeeded spectacularly. Where a boy like Dan Duncan, who grew up dirt poor in deep East Texas, started a business with just 2 trucks and $10,000. But with hard work and true Texas grit, he went on to become one of the wealthiest Texans ever. Where people like Colleen Barrett can climb the ladder from being an executive assistant to becoming one of the most powerful women in America as president of Southwest Airlines. And where a 13-year-old daughter, immigrants from Mexico, worked nights in a drapery factory, but never gave up on her dreams. And now, Guzman is the first Latina justice on the Supreme Court of Texas. And Texas is where a mother from Wichita Falls, who, like so many mothers, chose to stay at home with her children and raise them and instill in them the values thought were important. And although now, today, she is in heaven with my dad, she's no doubt proud that her timeless love and devotion inspired her son to become the 48th governor of Texas. These stories are the promise of Texas. These stories are not the exception, because our state truly is exceptional. I am living proof that we live in a state where a young man's life can literally, and yet he can still rise up to be governor of this great state. As governor, I will ensures that brand of opportunity for every single Texan. Texas truly is the land, the place where anyone can achieve absolutely anything. But as great as Texas is, there's more we must do. More families who are stuck in traffic. More for our parched towns, thirsty for water. More for parents who fear their children are falling behind in school. More for our employers who are searching for skilled workers. For our veterans who return broken from battle. And we must do more for the millions of Texans who are tired of seeing our state sovereignty and the rule of law ignored by a federal government that refuses to secure our border. As governor, I will ensure that we build the roads needed to keep Texas growing. Taxes raised will be spent on building more roads here in Texas. I will speed up our needed water projects. And I will ensure that we secure our border. And it will come as no surprise that as governor, I will continue my legacy of pushing back against a Washington if they spend too much, regulate too much, or violate our state sovereignty. Any government that uses the guise of fairness to rob us of our freedom will get a uniquely Texan response. Come and take it. Now, don't get me wrong, we Texans aren't for a fight. We won't shrink from one when the cause is right. For far too long, Washington has tried to remake America in its image. In Texas, we offer a different approach. Trust in government, we put our trust in the people. And we will never forget that the government is the servant of the people, not the other way around. As governor, I will also ensure that we keep Texas #1 in creation. We will promote policies that limit the growth of government, not the size of your dreams. Yet, we all know there are too many who live on the fringe of opportunity. For them, there is no solace in #1 ranking that don't touch their lives, and who live in broken homes, and children who are stuck in broken schools. On this point, we cannot be captive to because our children trans politics in this state. If Texas is to remain the leader in job creation, we must become the leader in educating our children. You know, when you think about it, you realize that countries sometimes excel because of their military. States are different. States will excel because of our mental might. Texas should be the source of the greatest minds the country has ever known. These great minds will not be molded by a cookie-cutter approach to teaching. Instead, they will be the product of great teachers who recognize the value and uniqueness of each and every student. We will cultivate those teachers. We will educate those students to fill the growing job markets that will keep Texas the economic engine of the United States of America. Now, with us here today is one of those teachers. My English teacher from Duncanville High School, Nancy Nickel. Mrs. Nickel taught me far more than how to read and write. She taught me how to reach for my dreams. Thank you, Mrs. Nickel, and thanks to all the tremendous teachers we have here in the great state of Texas. There truly is no place like Texas. We will ensure that remains as true for the next generation as it does for those here today. I want you to take just a moment, and I want you to actually look at where you are sitting or standing. The ground beneath your feet is far more than pavement or grass. It is the soil that centuries ago bore the hopes and the dreams of settlers who risked it all to come to a land that promised freedom and opportunity. You know, Scripture teaches us that tribulation produces perseverance, character, and character, hope. Texans are filled with hope. Our lives have been infused with the perseverance and character that sprang from the tribulation that faced those who came before us. And we must make sure that this hallowed ground stirs the hopes and dreams of those who come after us. We must keep Texas on a path that years from now, people will come back and stand this very ground as grateful to this generation as we are to past generations. To do that, we must do more. Work to find common ground to solve our problems. We must seek higher ground to elevate Texas even more, not just as a leader in this nation, but as a leader in this world. Because as goes Texas, so goes America. And as goes America, so goes the world. So we have to take the lead here in Texas, from Amarillo, El Paso to Beaumont. We must work together to ensure that even the future is bigger in Texas. May God bless each and every one of you, and may God forever bless the great state of Texas. Thank you.
You have been watching live coverage of the Texas inauguration. We just heard from our new governor, Greg Abbott. Before him, Lieutenant Patrick, beginning a very humbling speech, personally humbling. Then he gets into policy. A difference in styles. Dan Patrick, before him, the new lieutenant governor, one of the first things he did as lieutenant governor was take a couple of selfies before his speech.
Yeah, he had a little humor in there as he talked about in comedic side. But all in all, we heard from the new governor talking about his family roots and how Texas and Texas families are as he moves forward, and saying that his #1 priority is job creation. And we also heard that from Dan Patrick, talking about how he believes too that the #1 thing is making sure we take care of families and secure the border.
Yeah, secure the border, and also both of them talking about education, and we may be spoiling for a school choice fight in the legislature.
Yeah.
from listening to those two speeches, certainly some elements of them.
And a lot of religion we hear as well. They're paying attention
quoting
to
the Bible liberally.
Yes, absolutely. Well, today is going to be a busy day. We're going to have all of the wrap-up of the inaugural events on our newscast at 5 o'clock. We're going to go from here to the barbecue. Our reporters are out there this afternoon. We'll be part of that festivity. And then at 2 o'clock, if you're anywhere close to downtown, know that the parade is going to happen from 2 to 4. That starts at the bridge, goes to the Capitol, and all of downtown will pretty much be shut down.
Free of charge, so stop by if you can. That starts at 2 o'clock. And then we got the ball tonight down at the Convention Center.
We'll have full coverage tonight at 5. Thanks so much for being here for this newscast.